Beats Patrol here, and Taylor Swift is coming to Toronto. The Eras Tour is just a couple of days away, and the city of Toronto predicts that 93% of the visitors will actually be outside of Toronto and Ontario, as well as there's going to be over hundreds of $millions of extra income to the city. Why is this important for teenagers and kids? Well, it can also increase the risk of alcohol consumption, substance use, abuse, and misuse. So let's talk about alcohol use during concerts and events. So according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, nearly 4% of alcohol consumed in the United States alone is by children aged 12 to 20 years of age. What's also interesting is that the legal limits across the world for alcohol use in teenagers varies. So in Alberta, Manitoba, and Quebec, the legal age is 18, whereas everywhere else, including Ontario, is 19 years of age. In the United States, it's actually 21 years of age. So there's a variance across even North America alone, which means there's a challenge if you're coming across the country or across North America, coming to Toronto, you may actually not know what the limits are. So you have to be very careful, especially if you're going to be consuming alcohol during the events. Data from the American Addiction Centers has shown that alcohol use during events is quite significant and can also include other substances like marijuana, hallucinogens, and other recreational drugs. As you can imagine, you're going out with your friends, you're having a good time, you're listening to really good music. There may be many reasons to partake in substance use, like relaxation, reducing social anxiety, to increase energy, to experiment, many different kinds of reasons to partake. We tend to forget that there's a lot of side effects of alcohol and substance use in teenagers, like being very, very tired, having changes in your behavior, nausea, vomiting, headaches, dizziness, loss of consciousness, not being able to think and act clearly. And worse, these behaviors can precipitate and can have long-standing effects in the future with increased risk of substance use and abuse in the future, especially if there's a family risk or even a genetic risk. So if you're a parent or a guardian or an older individual, how can you help reduce the risk of substance use and abuse in children and teenagers who'll be going to the Eras concert? Of course, the first step is always abstaining. Just say no. It's very, very hard, especially if there's peer pressures or social pressures or things like that. But that's the easiest way to actually get around the situation. Go with supportive friends and people that are there for you and support you and also have same values and systems as you are. Make sure to avoid any low carb or low alcohol drinks that are like spritzers. Those things can be misleading and you can drink a lot of those. Make sure to know your legal limits and also have a designated driver if you are going to be consuming alcohol. Make sure you have in case of an emergency contact number if you do wind up getting sick, or if you have any signs or symptoms, call 911 or go to the hospital. Finally, if you have somebody that you know that is engaging in misuse or abusive behavior during the concert or just have general concerns, contact Kids Help Phone. I'll also link resources below from the CMHA, which is a Canadian Mental Health Association that has amazing resources on who to contact and who to talk to. Also, there's some resources below from About Kids Health, which is resources on how to actually talk to children, especially if you're a parent or caregiver or somebody very important in that person's life. Sometimes it's just having a conversation and understanding what their needs are and how they're being met, how to set limits, how to set controls, and what to do if there's any emergency or things like that. Sometimes having an open conversation is much, much better than being judgmental, stigmatizing, or ostracizing somebody for their alcohol use or intention.